Welcome, truth seekers and future truth seekers. Tonight in this live stream, we're going to talk about Antarctica. There's a lot of tales of Antarctica stories out there, some great stories. And if you're a person that have been keeping up with stories in Antarctica and all these different things, we're going to bring some of that home for you now with a eyewitness that was in Antarctica. I hope you enjoy this live stream tonight. Make sure you show your support in the comments and also be kind, because that's how we roll here as truth seekers. Get ready, because what you're about to hear, you may not believe it. Truth seekers, what's going on? It is tonight. It's Friday. You could have been any other place tonight, but you chose to be right here, right now. And with that being said, I'm going to serve you. And how I'm going to do that? First, I need to welcome you to Roderick Martin, Truth versus Authority. And we're going to be the boldest, baffling, belligerent YouTube channel in the world, creating captivating conversations that'll certainly cause controversy. And tonight we're going to be talking about Antarctica, but also we have a guest that will be here that's going to share his Antarctica story. But before we do that, I'd like to bid you good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the 24 hours of this time zones that this show is being aired tonight, and everything else. And it's going to be great. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. You're going to hear a real account of those aliens in Antarctica. But in the meantime, if you did have an opportunity, we had a blast last night in our private area of the uncensored part. And if you missed it, then go into the Patreon section. You can hear the live Q&A what we had with the channeler last night. It was a beautiful place. But in the meantime, you can join us anytime, patreon.com versus authority, and do the all access pass so that you can get access to videos, uncensored live streams as we go further down the road in doing what we're doing. Also, real quickly, if you hadn't got a copy of the shadowsofdeception.com ebook, that's the ebook, that's the web address there on the screen. You might want to check it out and give you some information there as well. Our show is also brought to you by the Fresh Mouth Club, where you can get the Nano Silver toothpaste. And there's a website there, nanosilver.help. Make sure you check it out, and you can get the water bottles. You know, there's some great stuff when we're talking about the hydrogen bottles. So I do a lot of that as well. But anyway, that toothpaste with that berry blast, you know, and it's nano silver. So you hear a lot of people talk about silver toothpaste because that fluoride is not good for you. So definitely try that as well in pretty much. But I'm excited because what you're going to hear is from part of Project Black, which y'all know we're instrumental in putting that out, Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. And so be ready, as we're going to do live events and stuff with that as well. We kind of put it to the back burner, but now, you know, we got enough stories and people sharing their stories as well. If you haven't got your copy of the Book of Sacred Secrets, make sure you check that out. The link is in the description. All right, so that's my announcements for right now to get things started. Let's look into the chat so I can welcome some of you here and get this background going for us. All right, so who do we have in here? We got Nursing the Paranormals here. The Ghost Club is here. Our moderators, Maya, is here. I'm going up the list this time. Let's see who else. Ronald is here with us. Nick is here. Showboat. Judith is here as well. So y'all make sure. Also, just like y'all know, I have a birthday coming up in 40 days. I'll be 55. Yes, 55. Oh my God. And it has been a hell of a journey. And you now I understand about the triple moon symbol, where the young, middle, and then as we get older, and while they spend so much time in corporate America trying to make you not want to get old, because that's our wisdom. That's the part where you begin to understand life better. And I can definitely tell you I have. But anyway, there's a link in the description. I already put it up where, like some of you supported my birthday gift last year. Then I put it in. So anyway, we'll talk about it as we go on, but there is a link in the description, and whoever want to be the first person to say, hey, here's, and even if anyway, there's a video there too. But anyway, we'll talk about it. That's March 10th. I don't know what kind of celebration. I've never had a birthday party ever. So maybe I may throw my own party this year, or maybe, get out and do something, or we'll do that. But anyway, we're all good. So, again, if you missed last night's live stream, the uncensored live stream, you got to go check it out and make sure, because we're going to be doing more. Next week, we're going to have Michael Carter here with us. He actually has y'all seen him before on Ancient Aliens, but he's also had a reptilian experience. So he's going to be talking about that Wednesday. And then if there's anything that we have to go offline into the uncensored area that he needs to share, then now it's set up so I can just say, hey, go in there, click it. Everybody go onto that side, those who want to access that, because then we can talk about things that we never talked about or can't talk about on the air. All right, so there's a lot of stories about Antarctica that you've heard. I mean, it's one of the most prolific ufology parts of this phenomena that you can find anywhere else, because not only because of the conditions there, but most importantly, some of the stories that comes out of Antarctica, from Admiral Byrd to Linda Moulton Howe talks about the person she interviewed that went into Antarctica, and then they, saw all the hologlyphs and going into that tunnel. Admiral Byrd, his story was flying over Antarctica, and then he saw actually green part. In other words, he flew into some area that was naturally green and everything else. Then there are stories of the tunnels. I've told stories of the Russian, I think it was Russian expedition way back in the 30s that went over to Antarctica, and they end up meeting the bronze aliens, who said that they were part of creation, which is pretty kind of prominent now, because when you hear a lot of stories of aliens, especially originating from Antarctica, or any story, everybody is saying they are the gods of men, right? They are our creators. So at one point in time, we're going to get down to the point and get whoever and pin one of these aliens down and say, who is the one? Who is it? Who are we going to tag? Because we hear these stories constantly. But the one that was in Russia, and you probably saw the documentary, it was called Two-Face Gray or something. A brilliant documentary from one little flash moment. They made a whole series. They traveled the world. But in particular, they talked about how there was a Russian expedition, or I don't know if it was Russian. Yeah, it was Russian. They went over there because they was claiming they were searching for uranium. However, they met some bronze beings, went back and told their leader of Russia, and he ended up throwing them all in prison because he thought they were just trying to avoid the conditions of Antarctica. Our country at that time overheard it from Germany and all that stuff. And we sent Admiral Byrd over there with the first nuclear powered submarine. If you haven't heard that story, fleet of 3,700 people, and met a horrific situation there. Within 3 minutes, they decimated the whole clan within the quickness. And of course, he came back and said the enemy showed mercy, and y'all heard what happened to him from that story. But just make a long story short, there's been a lot of stories of Antarctica and what's happening. So tonight, like I said, and the person you're going to meet has been here. Y'all have seen him before. He's been here a lot. We've had a lot of great conversations, but I have never ventured into telling his story. We've always kept it on the wraps for various reasons. And now that we're about to expand some things, you're going to hear a lot of other people's stories that I've kept on the wrap. But he's going to go into the details tonight, things that you're just going to be blown away from there. And Two-Face Gray, I think that's the name of it, Clark. Yeah, you want to check that out from there. But anyway, moderators, once again, I want to extend your moderation if you can. our comments in our videos are getting very, very expanded now, especially when the videos are over. And you all still have access to go in there, mod, comment, or whatever. I would love for, if you had the time, go into some of those videos and you can comment with some of these people's questions and also moderate some of the bad stuff that get in there. It is just crazy of some of the questions and comments that I get from things that, and you only know that they only watch 10 seconds or something because the way they're putting some of these questions in. And then there's some great people stuff that, I've been trying to come in as well to do that. But if you all have a chance to do that. And then also I need to add a few more moderators. I've been saying this before. We need at least 3 more or 4 tops because I know the rotation of this gets pretty hectic sometimes when you have your own stuff that you have to do. And so if you are inclined, but I will need you to email me because I need a specific username from you that you have that I can go in and add mods. I just can't say, I see you right here and I'm just going to add you. It doesn't work like that. But anyway, the email is contact, CONTACT @whythebigsecret.com. We will get to that as well. So anyway, back to the stories of Antarctica. And like I said, is that, it is probably, again, the terrain there is just ridiculous. And it makes so much sense that if you didn't know that, it is a place that you can't go in most of these countries. We can't go without the permission of the United Nations. And that's always been something that people have been asking why. Well, it's because it's a restricted area. No one owns the land there for some reason, and it's not inhabitable without you having some type of apparatus to stay out of the cold. And like I said, the temperatures get pretty vicious there, and the climate is pretty vicious. And so therefore for human life. And it's kind of wonder when we get back to the alien, there's 2 places, like underwater in Antarctica is where they seem to hide the most when we're talking about UFOs or extraterrestrials, because they know that humans can't go there, or we won't go there or survive there in those extreme climates, the depth of the ocean, as well as the temperatures of Antarctica. But when they live underground, then you be thinking like, well, how could they live there? Well, underground, the temperatures are the same year round. So it's like they're really intelligent. It's like, okay, we're going to go and live in Antarctica, which they can't get there through normal travel means. But then when they get there, they're going to freeze, and then they cannot, and so we'll stay under the ground where we don't freeze. And so the stories that comes out of there is pretty, there's pretty strong stories that come out of Antarctica when we do this. And so have any of you, let me ask your questions, have any of you heard a lot of stories about Antarctica and stuff like that? And what have you heard? What have you heard the most about it? And like I said, we'll get into the conversation as our guests get prepared in the studio. And like I said, you met this individual before, but no one knows. We never, ever talked about the story that you're going to hear tonight purposely. And it's just been on purpose from there and pretty much. Before I get started, did any of you attend the Uncensored live stream last night? If you did, put it in the chat and kind of share your experience there so that people know that I think we found a special place to do some stuff. So I need y'all to kind of help me just talk about that a little bit. Just kind of post what you kind of like most about it, what people probably should consider if they want to be part of that as we build that area up pretty much. So if you were there, please kind of go in there. And then, like I said, we'll get started here with our guest in about 5 minutes or 3 minutes here. And where we're going. All right, Judith said she was there and it was epic. All right, so there you go. So again, if you have an opportunity, make sure that you jumped in there as well. And Clark says Anthony gave some great insight there. Yeah, all right, there you go. And again, he attended the area. All right, so it's Friday night. And like I said, we will get going here for those of you who have jumped in here early. Diana said, I did. It was great. A lot of stuff, she said there, pretty much. Oh, there we go. Put that on here. She said it was very laid back, great content. There you go. Yeah. So I think it is something that now Mike says somebody talked about. Sandra was there as well. With a lot of information, learned a lot about reptilians. Yeah. So and again, and yeah, he'll come back pretty soon. And then we're gonna have some stuff. All right. So I'm gonna bring our individual up. And like I said, he's not a stranger to the channel. Y'all just didn't know the story, and pretty much. But anyway, we're just gonna get into it and talk about it a little bit, and pretty much. And like I say, moderators, y'all kind of mod there, and pretty much. All right, so let me get him on stage here. Pretty. All right, there he is, Charles. What's going on, my man?
Hey, how you doing? What's up, Raj?
Man, it's been a while. And like I said, to some, you're not a stranger. They just didn't know.
Hey, everybody.
They didn't know the story, and they're going to hear it now for the first time. We're going to tell something that we have put in our box of stories for quite some time, and pretty much. And we won't give away the big surprise, not just yet, but y'all get it tonight, though. You'll get it tonight. I don't know.
A little of it, Raj, not all of it. Not actually none of it.
Yeah, we will work on them. But let me. I'm just going to start here. If y'all haven't met Charles, of course, him and Helen, is just a great couple. And like I said, they've been here before when we used to do a lot of our Freaky Fridays and everything else. And we had a lot of fun, but I had to shut that down. But we might start back doing some of that stuff in the private area where we can talk about some stuff from there. But I'm going to jump right into a few things. First of all, let's just, this experience happened long time ago, and long time ago, and before some of these people were born. You were young. But the other part of this is, let's just first get into, before we get into the experience, the emotional toll that this has played on you for what, how many years? 30, 40 years now?
47 years.
Okay, 47 years. All right, so let's just talk about the emotional side.
I'm 68. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, it's kind of hard for me to talk about this because when I first talked to Roderick, my wife said there was a program she was looking at. And I never told anybody this story. Nobody. My mama didn't even know. My mama knew I was going to Antarctica, my family, but they didn't know what I went through. And I never talked about it. I didn't get no counseling. I didn't get anything. It was like when I got back, I just dropped off the world. I didn't even exist anymore just because of what I seen. But that's not the problem. What Roger is letting you guys know that everything I went through, it was so hard when I sat up and my wife told me to tell Roger what happened. And I was so scared to say it because a lot of stuff that's on TV right now, this stuff happened a long time ago. And I just happened to get caught up in it. But I've been doing self-counseling, and my sister, God bless her soul, before she left, and my wife, Helen Davis, Miss Davis, they've been helping me. And I can talk about it, but I can't talk about it to anybody. But I can talk to Roderick about it, and you guys can listen, because he's going to ask me the questions, and I'm going to tell him, just like I told him but some of the things I just can't say. But I just want you guys, excuse me, Rod.
It's all right, man. It's all right. It's all right. And guys, audience, I just want y'all to know I get stories all the time, and it is especially when I started down the road for Project Black, and I get stories all the time, and it's emotional, and sometimes people just need people to talk to. But y'all just work with him. We talked about it's been a year or so. We talked all the time, and finally got him to a point where he said, I can share. And this is that part where I try to tell people, he'll be back, just took off there. But this is that part that I tell people that it gets really tough because, it's the unexplainable. when you go through experiences like this, it is so unexplainable because it defies logic. It defies your everyday stuff that happens, and it just gets to a point to where you either going to have to you can't just tell anybody, because if they can't comprehend it, then most oftentimes people don't get to that point. That's why, I've always told you about the story of I Believe You Believe. It's something that I wrote, and I think it's just a beautiful thing to implement. And like I said, as he gathers himself, he'll be back, and we'll continue on, what's going on. The other part of that, I remember interviewing Robert Salas. He was the Maelstrom Air Force Base, when they turned off the nuclear weapons there. He was one of the Minutemen that was down off in the silos. And one of the things he told me 3 or 4 years ago when I started this journey, he says, Roderick, one thing I want you to do is to always remember, trust the witnesses and everything else. Trust the witnesses. Charles, whenever you're ready, just wave your hand and I'll bring you back on stage. If you can hear me, just wave your hand and then I'll bring you back. But the other part of that is, he says, Roderick, it's just time for us to trust the witnesses, because they've done so much of a job out there where it's been so difficult, and they don't understand the emotional impact. Then we start seeing the whistleblowers, and people still couldn't really comprehend what it took to explain the unexplainable. And it gets really, really deep emotionally. Now, for me, I've heard countless of stories. All right. And all right, brother, welcome back with us. And well, just not welcome back, but anyway, how are you?
I'm fine.
Hey, and any time, like I say, through this point, and if I get to a point where I'm bringing back too many scars, of course I've heard them all. And I heard the story. I know you. I know your family. I know how deep to go, so it'll also be good for me. I already know as well. So the other part of this is, you were just explaining the toughness of this, and of course you were married previous to the great person that you're with now, the most beautiful person I've ever met as well, and within Helen and all of this stuff. But over the years, before we go into the story a little bit, just how did you deal with it? I know you say you had counseling, and when you hear other people's story and people ridicule them or don't believe them, did that make you feel a certain way?
Yes, it did. I mean, I never looked at some of these programs because I tried to block a bunch of it out. But when I met my wife, some of my family members calls people like, what they call it, conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy theorists, yeah.
That they hear things and jump to conclusions, and then because they hear it and their life hasn't never been around it. Okay, they've never seen it. They never experienced. They've never seen something that would just come out of nowhere. Like they're sitting there looking at, I cannot believe I'm seeing what I'm seeing.
Right.
And when I met my wife and we talked and we got married, going into we're actually starting our 3rd year. This is our 3rd year. We got married in September.
Well, y'all give me hope, that's for sure.
My wife and I, we love each other so much. We have so much fun. And just to tell you about me, can I?
Yeah.
I was born in 1956. And I was born.
Damn it. Well, boy, they're like, damn it.
I was I was born in Los Angeles, California, Santa Monica, Queen Anne's Hospital. And my name is Charles Devine Davis Jr. My daddy's name was Charles Devine Davis Sr. And he was in the Army. And I didn't really know him, but I knew him. I seen him, but I didn't know him. And the difference between him and I is that the stories that I heard about him, that he was overseas in the military and he went through some things and did did some things, and he lost his leg in the service, and he spent like 3 years with me and my brother Teddy, and then the next time I seen him, he was in a casket because he passed from some shrapnel that happened in Korea. He was he was in the 125th Armor Brigade, and he was a black soldier that came out of Los Angeles, California, and that was during a time when there was so much stuff going on about races. But one thing that I learned is that no matter where you at or what you're doing, if you with somebody and somebody's shooting at y'all and you together and he run out of bullets and you got a whole bunch of bullets, you're going to be passing them to him because both y'all going to be shooting. Okay. That was my dad. That's what I was told. And some of the things that I went through was like the same story I heard about my dad, because my dad went through some things in the 30s and the 40s, and I guess he went through some things I went through, and that's why I'm going back so you can understand where I'm coming from, because I grew up in Santa Monica, California. We moved from Santa Monica when I turned 9, and we moved to Watts. I stayed at Imperial Courts and Jordan Downs, and some people out there might know where that is. That's in the whole of Compton. Okay. And from there, I moved to Willowbrook and Cundero. That's where we moved to. And that was off of Willowbrook by railroad tracks. So everything I seen and all the stuff I grew up in, by the time I turned 15, I became a gang member. I was one of the Compton Crips. I was actually Stanley Tookie, Big Tookie. I was his lieutenant. They called me Charles Snake Davis because I was off in martial arts. And all that was just a kid having fun. Well, the fun, I thought it was fun, but it wasn't. Had I known where my life was getting ready to go and some changes I was about to go through, I would look back on that and say, if I know people who's going through something like this, I can talk to them because I've been there. So you can understand, I'm a walking witness of what you're doing right now. Don't lose your life. Okay, there's something out there for you. Go see the world. And the man told me that, Roger. And he saved my life as a gang member and put me in this construction program that was called the Housing Maintenance construction program for us gang members to learn how to do construction. Unbeknown to me, the first year that we went through, everything was going fine. But the problem was I was accident prone. I was doing construction. So I know I can look at you, Roger, and already thinking he cannot work with me. I don't even want him around me. Stuff happens. And that's
already even now, right?
I'm telling y'all about me. Real talk. Okay. I went through some things and I learned. But what I learned was that when somebody's older and talking to you and they're telling you something, that's going to either put you on a point where you can open your mind up and think about what you're doing and what you're seeing and look around. You're going to see things in your own eyes, and you're going to make your own. You're going to not an opinion. You're going to make sure that what you're looking at is what it is. And if it's that, and you tell somebody and they look at you like you're crazy, shake the dust off your feet and keep going.
Okay, I'm with you.
I'm with this brother right here. I mean, I'm past that part now, Raj. I'm past that because I went and talked to my wife and daughter, and they come in here and talk.
All right, we're gonna take it one step at a time.
Yes, sir.
And I'll just lead you through it all. So my main thing would be, uh, and I don't think a lot of people understand the aftermath, and I'll keep them wondering for a minute. Um, but there was, after your incident or experience, there was an aftermath. It didn't just stop at this in Antarctica. It came all the way back to the United States with, you know, what people don't understand. When you see things you're not supposed to see, they got time to watch you. They got time to make sure that you're not talking, because most people think they're just going whatever, but you receive a warning to say, hey, so let's start there. When you, not only, we'll get back to what you saw, but let's come all the way back now. You're back home, you're living life, and things start to happen in the result of what you saw. Let's go into the real life events of, and if in my mind is correct, there was an argument in the house.
Yes.
And let's go from there.
There was an argument in the house, and we were watching the football game, and there some show was on, and they was these shots, like somebody was actually shooting in the house. The neighbors downstairs said they heard some noise, and somebody shot some guns. So the police came to my house, and my family was with me, and we were already talking about some things. And when the police came in, I was telling them what I seen in Antarctica. I was telling them the stuff that I was doing, and then what everything.
Not the police, but you was telling your family.
I was telling my family. I said everything that's. I'm telling them I'm being watched. I'm serious, y'all. There's a construction company down there on the corner, right across the street from my apartment, upstairs, and they've been there for like 3 weeks. I've been home for almost 2 months. They've been there 3 weeks and ain't digging no holes. They're sitting in a truck and a car with a big canopy over it. And every time I come home, when I get ready to walk my dog, they all come out and look at me. And I'm like, I'm trying to tell my family this, and they said I'm crazy. They said, you just paranoid, Charles, because of, what you started talking about when you got back home. And Mama said this, because I told you, you need to stop telling people what you seen down there. That ain't their business. You signed a contract, Charles, not to talk about stuff. I grew up talking about stuff. There's something that I seen. I want to tell somebody I seen it, and they don't believe me. Well, this is what I was going through as an adult at 19 years old. And I could not look at it where I thought I was doing something right. The powers that be said I was doing something wrong. And this Saturday morning, like I told Roger, I told my sister 3 things. I said, Nene, I would sure like to have a T-top gold Trans Am, and with some these see, back then we didn't have CDs. We had tapes.
Yeah.
Okay? We had 8 tracks. And it was going to cassettes. So y'all could know how long that was. Okay. All I said is I wanted that car, some music, and I wanted, stuff done to it. I called my sister Nene, and Nene said, Butch, you said somebody called you and said, come down here and pick up a car, and it's free, and everything you asked for is in it? I said, yeah, Nene. She said, didn't somebody call you and tell you to stop talking? I said, yeah. Butch, are you getting it? I said, no, Nene, what are you talking about? Bro, they setting you up. Roger, is that what I said?
Yeah, and then you mentioned about when the police came, and and there was some other stuff around that they didn't worry about that. Yeah,
we was in the house, and I had a football game that day, but I brought my family in. We in the house at the table. Okay, guys, I'm gonna tell you, that's back in the day.
Yeah,
all right, back in the day, it was some things in the house. Okay, it was some things in there that weren't supposed to be, and I ain't saying what it was, but it was some things. I get a bam on the door, and 3 of my family went to the door, and they got snatched off the door. Like I'm talking to my sister, my brother, but I'm looking at the door, and then there's another bang on the door. So my brother gets up, he gets snatched out. So I get them start walking to the door, and Nene said, "Where you going?" I said, "Nene, you don't see they leaving." When Nene gets to the door, she gets pulled. These cops, 4 cops, rushed in the house. These 4 white cops rushed in the house, knocked me down, and put me down. And he said, "Listen," he put the phone to a cell phone, y'all, not my house phone, a cell phone, 76, 77. There wasn't no cell phones. There were pagers. That wasn't out there.
Yeah, we call them beepers, man. I'm big old.
You want a phone? Their phone is on your shoulder in a box. If you ever seen Lethal Weapon, when Danny Glover sat that box on top of the car and said, "This guy crazy."
Yeah.
That's the phones we had, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I used to have a big old bag phone, and I used to sell cell phones, and the transmitter to a phone, we know what we got right here, but back then, the whole trunk was the whole part of the phone, man. It covered. You get a phone, you lose your trunk. That's how big it was, like huge. All right, so they got you, put the phone to your ear
on the floor and pick me up. The stuff that's on the table was like 20 years. All right, no questions asked, because they're taking it downtown for evidence. They told me, "This person said you talking too much. You need to close your mouth or you're going to disappear. That's why we're here." And I looked at him. I looked square dead in his face, and he said, "You should not say what happened in Antarctica and what you seen, because it's getting back to us. That little deal about the car down at the car lot, we're going to give it to you. Come pick it up on Saturday." This came to me on Wednesday. Come pick it up on Saturday. So everything was already set up for me not to be sitting here talking to you right now.
Hey,
that was at Raj. That was at 20.
Yeah,
that was at 20. Because when I came back from Antarctica, I was at home for like, I think, almost 5 months. They called me and sent me on another assignment. It was 5 altogether. I went around the world twice with the military.
All right, so here we go. There's people in the chat like, did I miss it? No, I haven't deliberately got there on purpose for y'all. So a lot of them wondering, we're going to go back there. But before we go back there, I want to go forward some more, because I'm just trying to give people some context to what really happens after some of these experiences, especially when you have the real ones. And people don't talk about it in pretty much. But, first of all, I'm going to go back to when I first heard from you and your wife, and when we got on the phone and we talked, and how emotional it was. And my comfort at that moment, to tell a lot of people, I get a lot of, phone calls, story, I get emails, and especially when I start going down a journey in our community, because, it's an emotional thing. It's a taboo subject to even talk about if aliens or there's other things that exist in this world. And you grew up in ministry as well, I think, right? And so therefore it gets really challenging, because at that point you either have to, the word is the word. Now we know that the word is the word, but the word can be rewritten. And that's just a whole nother story. But the other end of that, reality is reality, though. But then also, your experiences is the experiences. And where I'm going with this, so that the audience would know, is that I've probably gotten 100, 200 stories since I started going down the path of Project Black, the Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge, wanting to put together and knowing. But then when I realized how emotional these stories was, then and I'm not a doctor, I'm not therapeutic, but I'm a friend, and that's where I became his friend, him and his wife, their family, and a lot of other people, and then we have supporters that support it behind the scenes. So I'm only throwing y'all this backdrop to let you know There's going to be a lot more people coming forward now because I've been working on this for over a year and a half almost. And it just, my cautionary, 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. And my cautionary tale was to make sure these relationships were formed, because I knew that when these stories get out, then those other people out there is going to start trying to exploit and blah, blah, blah. And, come on my show. And they don't know the emotional toll that it takes. They're just trying to get a story. And so once I learned that, that's when I figure, okay, we're going to have to wrap this up in a particular point. And basically, me acting as a liaison for some of these people, because I can know, hey, don't go there. They got some bad damn intentions. Don't tell their story there. This is not from there. So now we have military people. We have people that was on boats. And the lady that was in the Navy, she was sitting on watch. We just met her. I mean, stories after stories. All right, so let's go here, Charles. I'm going to let the audience, I'm going to give them a backstory that they already know. There's a lot of stuff happening in Antarctica, but what they don't know is what we're going to talk about is, I froze?
You froze.
I froze or you froze?
Yeah.
Me?
Or me.
Yeah, it'll be you, because I'm on
froze, but you.
I'm on some top of the line stuff over here now. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Me. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's ask the audience there. Anybody, did I do a Max Headroom?
Yeah, so you keep stopping.
Okay.
Yes.
Anybody? Yeah, let me see the comment. I mean, you froze a few times, but all right, let me ask the audience, my moderators. They're saying no. Everybody's saying no for the Roderick now.
Okay, well, I know it wasn't me.
Yeah, they saying Roderick is fine. So if it's freezing, it's over there. And maybe it's because it's just, you know what I'm saying? We're about to tell this story, so you never know.
Yeah, right. I already thought about that.
Yeah, you never know. And, all right, so let me get down to it, though. So I think that when you get down to what's happening, and a lot of people, I'm going to give them some backstory, and they can Google this. There's something called Project Deep Freeze.
Operation Deep Freeze.
Operation Deep Freeze. And it's in existence. You can Google it right now, but they're going to say it was closed down a long time ago. And this is what he was part of. But Operation Deep Freeze is in Antarctica. You can Google it right now. You can kind of look it up, and it'll show up in Wikipedia and everything else. And it's about the government being over there. Now, when they do these, they have contractors, which we've heard a lot of those stories that are over there working. Now, one of the phenomena that at this time was the technology of how people worked in Antarctica. And you hear about it, but it's so cold. But now we understand that there's technology that they can make a dome over there where you can be out in sub-zero degrees. You walk in this thing and it's 50, 60, 70, 80 degrees or whatever. What was the temperature probably there?
It was like 89 degrees.
89 degrees.
And
yeah.
When you step out of it, you walk back into 59 below zero.
Yeah. And so pretty much. All right. So moderators, y'all moderate my chat, please. But our chat, because we in this together, babies. So we in this together. So so the other part of this will be that the technology. All right. So at this point, you're a kid, you're 19 years old. You're now, when you first heard that you're going to be sent to Antarctica, what was the first thought when you heard that?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I wasn't going to go.
Okay.
Because Oscar Strange, who was the director of the training program for the city of Compton, because we was gang members, my mama said, when I got home and told her, I said, Mama, I'm going to Antarctica. And she said, Charles, stop lying. What are you going to do? There ain't no black people in Antarctica. What you going down there for? I said, Mama, do construction work. She said, okay. In September, when we graduated, there was 4 or 5 news station there at the building that we refurbished and said there are 5 junior contractors that would be leaving with the United States Air Force and Army that's going down to Antarctica for a secret program. And when they mentioned my name, my mother's mouth dropped because she said, that boy accident prone. He been getting hurt through the whole program, y'all, for 2 years. Now you're going to send him down to Antarctica? He walks away from stuff.
Roger. Yeah, it's the setup, right? It's the setup for how this happened in there.
I've been getting in trouble since I was 13 years old. Now I'm about to leave the world and go to the bottom of the world at 19. For 2 years, I went through this training program, and I wasn't a gang member anymore. I had a dream that I was gonna be able to just go walk wherever I want to in Antarctica. And when I got there, that wasn't happening. Because when that C-130 Hercules landed on that ice and that drop door it dropped on the ice, I'm sitting there looking at it like, what we doing? What we doing? You got to get off the plane and go to that truck over there. Okay, I step off the plane, Roger. Can I look down? I see water. I jump back on the plane and say, hey, y'all, I don't know if you know this, but we sitting on water. They said, no, that's ice. That's what? That's ice. Well, how come I can see the water? Because the ice is 97 inches thick. This is the ice runway that you land on Antarctica. So all this flat you see is an ice runway. This particular ice runway is for these planes that's dropping y'all off so y'all can be here for 5 months and then we leave. After we get you off the plane, so you need to get off. That's what the first thing I experienced. And when I got off that plane, 10 minutes later, because they were about to chase me off. We had everything was like in order time, like military time. You got to be here at a specific place because things get started. If you don't hear it, you're in trouble. And the one thing they told, you can still hear me, right? Mm-hmm. Because the screen just went black.
Yeah, that's your side freezing up and stuff. But go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay. When I finally got the McMurdo sound, the base station that I was at, when I walked in there and seen what was going on, I said, you know what? Y'all didn't tell me this was happening like this. Why we out here? Roderick, I was told that we were just going to go do some construction work. We weren't digging nothing out. We were just building stuff. And the stuff that we were building was materials that's up here now. And if anything you have that can work down in Antarctica, it can work anywhere in the world. That's what we were down there doing, because they were testing materials that was not from this world. Okay.
Yeah, they figure those harsh climates like that will be pretty much, if it can work out there in that climate, it'll work anywhere else. If you're gonna go to Mars or you're gonna go wherever.
It's 59 below zero. That's the average temperature with a wind chill factor of 178. And that means some places you got to be tethered through a line. In the base camps, you don't have to. But once you leave the base camp, unless you're on a piece of equipment that's heavy, you're fine. But if you get off that equipment and you start walking, the wind gonna pick you up. Can you imagine a wind that's moving at 175 miles an hour and picking up snow dust? Like a dust storm. You can't see, and once you land, okay, first of all, you're not gonna fall through the ice. You gotta throw a couple of sticks of dynamite on the ice to open it. You ain't gonna fall through. However, it's 4 animals down there. It's a skua, which is a prehistoric pigeon. It's an emperor penguin. It's a sea lion, and it's a killer whale.
And a polar bear, right?
No, that's the North Pole.
Okay.
Those are the 4 animals you're gonna see down in Antarctica. You ain't gonna see nothing else. Antarctica ain't nothing like the North Pole.
Okay.
Antarctica is someplace, if you go down there and you don't know where you're going and you try to land, if you land past the Antarctic post office, yes, it's a post office down there. And the sign on the wall, because they took me to see it, the sign on the wall says, once you pass this post office, this is as far south as you can go because your instruments are not going to work. That's where Dry Valley is. Dry Valley is a spot that's about, I say about two blocks long, 2 blocks wide, and it's 89 degrees. It's 89 degrees. And when you walk out of it, it's 57 below. They said it's like a window to outer space, but that's actually one of the 8th wonders of the world.
That's interesting because, Admiral Byrd and his stories,
Yes.
flying over Antarctica, and next thing you know, he goes into another climate where there's rainforest and, mammoth walking. You know what I'm saying? It's like people's like, nah, that can't happen.
Rod, no. His I'm gonna tell you what happened to him. I know for a fact because I was told by people whose relative generation was with them. That man got ate. he was with them people from Australia, and they ran out of food. And he was the only white meat that was out there, bro. Okay.
Oh, well, I haven't heard that story, but we won't go there for you to be snapping us off tonight. But
okay. No, I'm playing. Matter of fact, hold on. I smell something. Hold on, Rod.
All right. But we're gonna get into what happened in Antarctica next, so that y'all know. And it is a profound story, and it is collaborated with a lot of stuff. And like I said, it takes a lot to show, to talk about these things, especially when it gets emotional and stuff like that. But, again, Antarctica is cold, but you hear those stories though, of climate change right there. Antarctica is in a special place. And like I said, if you look at the UN, all the countries, everybody got a base out there surrounding this area for some reason. But it's all manipulated. But the whole point is that you cannot go to Antarctica, no country, without the permission of the United Nations. It's like it's off limits. But it's also almost like everybody's sitting around it for protection, not to keep people from coming in it, but whatever's there coming out. And every country is just stacked up in all in the hidden world of saying, okay, we're over there. But at one point they was looking for uranium. And that's when the Russian expedition walked into Antarctica and ran into those bronze beings, and the bronze beings said, we know why you here, go back, you cannot have this uranium because, at that time it was a race for the nuclear capabilities, and everybody, China, America, Russia, everybody was looking for that uranium. And so that was why everybody was heading to Antarctica until they found out a lot of stuff that was there. All right. So you're now a contractor. You're working, you out in this climate, and now all of a sudden accident prone Charles is in effect. You're rolling. Yes. And what happens next for this wrong turn here? Let's go.
I was in a hole digging a telephone pole hole, and it was 2 of us. They had us in pairs that was working, and for some reason the guy had to go back. He had to go back to the shop and get some more parts for, I think, a bit for the jackhammer I was working, but my foot got caught in it, and I was in that hole by myself, trying to dig 4 feet in a 6 foot deep hole, and it's got to be 4 feet wide. And we have to work, one shovels and the other one uses the jackhammer. Well, I got pinned, and for all other reasons. Um, I was okay. I was okay. But some of the things that started happening after that was the things that sort of made me kind of feel like what is really going on around here, because I was told with that I went to Christ Church, I came back, I had to go get medically checked. I came back, and when we got back, they started putting me on a truck to go into the different bases to go take parts. Well, the base that I went to was it was Ross's Point, and Ross's Point was the area that was so secluded. It was just military and civilian personnel's, um, other people. I put it that way. And when I pulled up, I sat there and looked, and there was a big mount, Ross. There was a big hill that was glowing, and to me, it looked like a mountain that was on fire, but the fire burned out, and it was just the coals. But when I looked up and I looked to the sky, can I say it?
Let's go.
When I looked to the sky, these forklifts were going down, sitting pallets down with 50-gallon drums on them, attached together. And these ships were levitating them up in the bottom of them. And the ship would leave and another one would come. And I actually sat there and watched this for it seemed like forever, but I would put it about 5 minutes. And then when I realized that something was going on that I shouldn't be looking at, I put the truck in reverse, and that's when I got caught.
Now I know you, like you said, you was out driving and they had the flags and stuff, and you initially took the wrong turn, right?
You have the flags that tells you the base camp that you're in. They give you a chart. You take the chart and you look at the name. The base camps are like this, and they have flags on them. The color of the flags tell you where you're going, and the number is the base camp. So if it's base camp 5 or base camp 2 or base camp say 6, you're going to one of those bases, but you're going to look at your paperwork to make sure when you see those flags, because your flag, when you leave McMurdo Sound and you go to the two nearest base camps, the flags change. And I can't remember what the color of the flags were, but I know the flags from McMurdo Sound was green. It was green and white. White means you're coming back to the camp. Green means you're leaving the camp. And when you get to a certain spot, they have these like you see on the street signs, like Martin Luther King Boulevard, but not that. But you see, it's on a pole, and it's telling you which direction to go to get to this base camp, and it gives you a number, how far it is, how many miles it's away. And everything out there is sitting on the ice. And from a distance, you can't see it until you get up on it. But there, and McMurdo, the Antarctic rock itself. Okay, Antarctica is the Antarctica is at the bottom of the world. All right. There's a rock down there, a mountain, that if you're at McMurdo Sound, where I was stationed at, you can look at it. It's 750 miles away. But if you look at it from McMurdo Sound, it looks like it's about, 200 miles away. But it's 700 miles away because the air down there is so thin that everything looks huge. And it's certain places, Roger, you can't go down there without oxygen. Because certain areas you go into, you have to have oxygen. But the ships that I seen, when they came by and picked those containers up, and I backed up and I got that's all I can say about that.
All right, so and we'll give them a little more. So now you're sitting in this thing, and it's a dome, right?
Yes.
And the temperature has changed. Who did you see working? What were they wearing?
Regular clothes.
Okay. Go ahead.
They were extraterrestrials.
Okay. And then the military was there too, right? Or
yes.
All right.
Side by side.
And you couldn't really make out what they were loading, but it was green, right?
It was green, but some of the things that I seen was what you're talking about is when they took me. No, I ain't saying that. I'm talking about the stuff that I seen of what they were working with.
Let's go there.
Around that area. They were loading these stuff in containers, and they were taking it out in the open and sitting it there. And then the crafts would come by and pick it up. But none of them landed. They just levitated up in the bottom of it, and they took off.
All right. So at this point, you got busted, or you was bagging out. Who stopped you?
Like the movie, The Men in Black. They stopped me. And they took me out. They took my truck over to this, I guess, garage or something. And they took me in and started asking me questions. Who did I work for? What are you doing down here? Because I wasn't in a military uniform. I was in civilian clothes. All we had was our muckalucks, which are your boots. I had on some jeans, some 501 Levi's, and I had my shirt on and my Parker that said United States Antarctic Research Program. It was on my jacket. They seen that and they said, "Who do you work for?" And I said the person's name. And then they all left, and then they came back and they asked me some more questions. I answered, and then they left and they came back. And this went on, Roger, for like maybe 4 or 5 hours. And it wasn't like back to back. I would be sitting there for maybe 15, 20, at least 45 minutes before they came back in and asked me. And the question they asked me was, what did I see? And I said, I seen some ships. What kind of ships? Those ships up there that was taking that stuff up. What stuff? That glowing stuff. I didn't know what it was because, hey, man, I'm 19. I've never been out of California. Every place I've been was like Riverside, California, Oakland, California, San Francisco, California. I'm an ex-gang member. I run around in Compton. I live in LA. I ain't never went out. I ain't never went overseas. It was like, Raj, this is what I was thinking. Something's going on, and I need to call my mama. I need to call because I think what they trying to ask me is, and then it hit me, Roger. It hit me. This is the first time I've ever been out the United States as a kid. Well, I'm not a kid now. I'm 19. I'm an adult. But all the stuff my mama always told me what not to do, and if you have to do this, all that went out the window because now I'm by myself. And I got all these people from the military looking at me real crazy. And this one guy came in and sat across the table from me and put this thing on the table and said, "This got your name on it."
And what we're talking about that he sat on a table looks like this, but it goes into something. And And he's saying this got your name on it.
And he asked me, so what did you see? I said, nothing, but I want to talk to my mama. I want to talk to Lorraine Adams in Compton, California. I want to talk to her right now, let her know where I'm at. And all of a sudden, the whole conversation ended. Because the problem that happened is when I first started going through this, I supposed to been on a plane with the whole crew, and I didn't make it because my sister gave me a birthday party, and I got drunk. My mama came and picked me up. Her and my dad dropped me off downtown at the Los Angeles bus station. I had to catch a bus down to Point Mugu Air Force Base. And a limousine came and picked me up, showed me some pictures about Antarctica. I didn't even know what I was looking at. But when they took me to the Air Force Base, from that point on, I was not supposed to have no contact with anybody off the base. But I met these two guys that were twin brothers, and they did the same thing I did. We missed our plane because we getting ready to go to Antarctica. We going to Antarctica, boy. We partying. My sister gave me a cold party, and she had Antarctica. Here he comes. Big Bird on the ice. The Pink Panthers. He's about to do this, and all. Man, when I got there, it wasn't nothing like I thought it was. But them boys, when we got to the Air Force Base, oh my God, that's when all my problems started because I was with them. And they watched us from that point. They watched us wherever we went. They watched us.
Let's go back to the moment, and let me kind of get a description, and you correct me if I'm wrong. For those who just joined us. So you make this wrong turn. You go into Project Deep Freeze.
Operation
Deep Freeze is what we're talking about. Now they had that technology that we talked about, which is the domes, because that's how they was working. And so when you made the wrong turn and went into this place and you're seeing this, now you're looking at an alien craft. You're looking at people working like it's a normal day's work, but things are floating up this craft. We don't know what the green stuff is or was, but you were saying, but these was in bigger barrels and stuff, right?
Yes, it was 50-gallon barrels, and it was glowing. It was a pile of it.
It was a pile of it.
They had people out there loading into these barrels, and they were sealing it, taking the forklift, the side loaders, stacking them on top of each other. They do 18. 99 is 18. And they what you call it, lock it down. Thing picks it up. It gets like two of them, and then they leave.
And so at this point now, so it was more. So it wasn't really the mothership. It was smaller ships.
No, it was transport. I call them transport ships.
Okay, and then they're loading up. Now at this point, you're now looking at something that you can't explain.
No.
And you never thought these are aliens or something. You're just looking at it like, what the heck is this? Or can you hear me?
Yeah. It keeps doing the same thing. We both already know what it is.
Yeah, right. Go ahead. We're good.
When I was looking at it, I was like, I need to get up out of here. And I put the truck in reverse, and boom, that's when they came and got me. But sitting in there before they came, that's what I did right. I wasn't even thinking about it. I didn't think I did anything wrong. The thing was the decal on the side of the truck was Holmes and Narvis. Holmes and Narvis was an engineering company for the United States government, for the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, and the Marines. Okay, whenever they needed something, they hire civilian contractors, and that's what we do. But that thing that happened right there, they thought that I knew about it. Look, I was 19 when I went there.
So they probably you deliberately went there or something.
No, it wasn't that. What it was that when they asked me some questions, when I let that window down and they asked me, "What are you doing here?" I was supposed to say something to let them know I've been here before. This is the first time I went to Antarctica. I ain't never been down there before. This is the first time I went. So I left the base camp on orders to take this stuff to this base camp. And they gave me the map and they showed me where to go. And I went, but I went to the wrong place. Now the guy told me, you about 30 miles wrong. That's that way. What way?
Yeah. You, in other words, now you came here on purpose. Why are you here? So they had to really figure that, because who makes the 30-mile mistake, right?
Yes. And then they seem to, they know Holmes and Narvers. All their employees know what's going on. But they didn't talk. They didn't tell us that when I got there. They didn't even tell me that. They just said, "What's your name?" I said, "Charles Davis." "Oh, you the one that's 2 weeks late, huh?"
Yeah.
So
see, they already know you. Yeah, you pretty much. Now, question that, and let me give, we're doing good. And again, I appreciate your strength and everything of telling the story and, and just taking us back to some of these moments, and we'll get to some of the other areas. And I see different questions in the chat. And anyway, moderators, as always, just monitor everything, and y'all have the ability to time out or block out or, block people from the channel and all that too. So, be free to do whatever's necessary. I can't see all the chats, but I don't see nothing bad, but I see y'all telling people to be mindful. So if there's anyone that's not mindful in there, get them out today. Now, just lock them on out. All right. So did you see what they look like though? Were you able to see the alien faces, or was it kind of a distance? Huh?
No,
okay.
The rooms that they were working in, they were to the point that they didn't have like a regular big glass on the doors. It was like a porthole window. The glasses on the windows that they're behind are shaded black. You can't see in them. And you can't really look through that portal and see anything because they're not going to let you. You got to keep moving. You don't stop. Like, you're not getting a tour. You're being questioned. So you don't have any control on what's going on.
Now, you saw this, they held you up. Now, did you go back and tell your boss or anyone else what happened?
I went back and told my friend that was supposed to be watching over me, Bill Hayes. And he told me, he said, "Shut up. Close your mouth." Bill had been there. Bill had been to that program twice. Because, Raj, it seemed like, now that I look at it, all these things that took place to get me down there, why would I be the only person in the world with the other 4 people that I went down there with, only because one of them didn't go, so it was actually 4 of us. But I was in a company of 675 men and 25 females. Those were the civilian contractors. Everybody else were military, Air Force, Army, and Navy. And when I told Bill what happened, Bill told me to shut up and start talking. That next day, him and I got in one of the half tracks, and we was going to Dome Charlie. Dome Charlie is a place that looks like the Superdome. Dome Charlie is when something from outer space comes here and it lands on this earth, they take it down to Antarctica, and that's where they put it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I don't tell this story not a lot either, but, I worked for the military or defense contractor when I was 19. I had a, top secret clearance or secret clearance. And a lot of times they take young people. I was 19 years old as well. And because when they try to get you a clearance, if you were 40 or 50 years old, they got to go through so much paperwork. The whole history before they can give you a clearance. So they will take young people like they did me as well. and they just go back to you're 18 years old. So it's real easy for them to get young people clear to go to these projects. So at that time, I was working with the, which I can say it now, was classified, but it was the HARM missile. We were working on that project, the high-speed anti-radar missile, which changed the game when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait at the time back in the day. But yeah, I was working on some top secret program. I can't say all of that stuff, but yeah, until I was 19, 20, and then I got, they came in and gave me my, whatever you call it. I was somewhere else doing a business. They showed up and said, we need to, I forget what they call it. They need to debrief you.
They need to debrief you. You was a civilian contractor, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was so bad, man. I used to be driving down the street and people be speeding, and we had these fake companies that we, like different names. I can't tell y'all the names, but I used to roll in these little U-Hauls and I got shit in the back that is just F everybody up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, don't bump into my truck. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, but it was scary. But yeah, they take you when you're young. And that's how I've always been in the game. And I still have one clearance that I haven't been debriefed. Now, I never told that story, never will. But yeah, so I've been in the game for a long time. But all right, so at this point, now we leave, and then the turmoil is hit. So let's back up for a minute now, though, because I know this may touch on a little emotion. You've been married before, and I tell people that it's very difficult to have someone that's next to you that don't really believe your story or your life experiences because they can't comprehend it. How was that like before you met Helen, that you are going through relationships or something, and even just in having this experience?
It was 22 years. 22 years minus one, because I caught her after 2 years. Mm-hmm. So you can say 20 years, where when we got married, she married me because she thought that I had something. So she married me for all the wrong reasons. I was going through a breakup when I moved to Kansas. And I wasn't really even dating anybody. But when I met her, I thought that was the one, but it wasn't. And about a year, 2 years before I left, going into that 21st year, she said that she was going down to Louisiana with her ex-husband and her brother to go get some shrimp and crawdads. And I said,
who eats crawdads?
Hold on.
Man, that's straight from the backyard, man. Come on,
hold on. She said they was going down there to get some shrimp and crawdads, and they can get it at a better price because they're going down to the farmer's market, and they get them fresh, and then they're gonna bring them back freeze dried. But wait a minute, hold on. You're gonna get them fresh, but you're gonna bring them back freeze dried. So I guess you're gonna freeze dry them while y'all all the way coming back to the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, they fresh, but they freeze dry them. Yeah, okay, whatever. So she said, well, I want you to go with us. Huh? I want you to go with us. You want me to go with you, and this man just getting out of prison 4 years ago, and knowing what he did and knowing what he do, and you want me to go to Louisiana with you and him and your brother. That's what you're saying.
Louisiana.
Yeah, I'm gonna go anyway. Really? You're not going? I'm going. Okay. So then I thought about it, and after I thought about it, I called my family and called my people and said, "Hey, y'all, this blase. They said you better not go. Why not? Because they're gonna make you gator bait. You going with her ex-husband and her brother, he don't like you anyway. Come on, Charles. And then when they get you down there and they throw you to the gators, and the courthouses and people and the chief of police and the sheriff start calling, say, where Charles Davis at? Call his wife. Oh, he went to Louisiana and he left his phone in the car. Huh? They know damn well that didn't happen.
Yeah. I think people don't. And for the audience, I think they need to know, Charles, there's a big difference between crawfish and crawdads. Crawdads
Yes.
is out in the creek. You know, when we grew up,
The creek.
they're out in the creek. You know
In
what
the
I'm saying?
canal.
Yeah, they're not crawfish. And everybody
No,
knows
they're in the canal. They
Yeah.
look like little. They look like little miniature shrimp with big black eyes and two little antennas.
Yeah.
And I see people just take it and bite the head off. No, I don't eat that
No,
stuff.
see, we would catch them, and matter of fact, about a year or so ago, I was at somebody's house, and them things was coming out the front yard. Out there was raining. I'm like, man, crawdads out here, you know. So I don't think people know. They think somebody's like, oh, shrimp and crawdads. No.
No,
You say crawfish. These are crawdads.
Don't you eat them crawdads? I'm telling you.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back for a minute, and now that we're talking, 30, 40 years ago, now, you have there been any other instances that you felt that they still have been watching, or they give you any kind of notion that, hey, this, and again, did you still talk about this, from time to time?
I would say, okay. Oh, Roger, my wife and I told you last year that when I talked to them, my kids and my wife, and I told them about the history of my brothers and sisters. My brother Mike seen UFOs when he was in junior high school, and he went home and told my mom. My brother Aaron seen UFOs when he was going to Mesa, Arizona. My sister Renee seen them on the ship when she was on the USS Sanctuary at Vietnam, and then I seen them when I was.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Let's think about this for a minute. And is there any people in the audience got any questions that y'all want to ask? And that way we'll tone it down just a little bit, in pretty much. And I will, look at them just a few minutes and pretty much. But for the most part, there's a lot more things we can talk about, but we're not going to go there. But first of all, I just want to thank you first for just having the courage, man, to share some of that stories and stuff. And like I said, we have so many with Project Black that is just stacking up. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. For a moment, it was taking an emotional toll on me too, because, I felt what y'all was feeling, a lot of people. And when I was getting those phone calls, and there was a couple other people in the backdrop that I will share some stuff, and not everybody's intimate stories, but I was like, man, you got to hear. And then I would get emails constantly. Someone said, I wish my father was still here, and he was dealing with this, and that's when I knew it was a plight. But the problem that I had ran into, and I'll share it out now, was that I was going to do a lot of events. Remember, we talked about different stuff, but I financially was pretty difficult to, because it's not something that, you're teaching somebody how to, sell real estate, and okay, they're going to pay for the ticket, but I wanted those experiences out there. Then the challenge hit that I was getting so many calls, but when I say, hey, would you willing to share the story? Oh, no. I just needed somebody to talk to. And then that's when I realized, okay, we're in the middle of something. But then I just became available to hear the stories. And I never knocked anyone who said, hey, I don't want to tell it after, me spending time and everything else. But of course, with you, your wife, and everyone else, we just grew closer anyway, and everything else, because y'all just totally hilarious people, man, when it comes down to it. Fucking funny.
Can I say it, Roger? Can I say it?
Go ahead.
Can I say it? Okay. You guys, I told my wife, we mostly when we get to go to bed, talk and laugh. But I told her things that I went through and things that I seen, and she's good with it now. But she called me one day and said, honey, there's a light by my job that I've been watching it for almost a week. I said, what is it doing? It's changing shapes, Charles. Seriously. She said, okay, baby, I believe you. No, you don't, because you don't sound like you believe me, but I'm telling you, I took pictures of it. I said, okay, did you record it? No, I just took pictures. I said, baby, calm down, okay? Okay, just come to the house and show me. She gets to the house. She showed me these still pictures, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, wow, honey. And she said, baby, what is this? I said, honey, it's a UFO. And she said, stop playing. What is it? I said, baby, it's a UFO, and they're trying to contact me. She said, how they trying to contact me? I don't know nobody in outer space. I don't know nobody on those ships. I said, baby, listen. It's a UFO, and because they're talking to you telepathically, and you don't know it. They're just trying to contact you, because for some reason you're telepathically connected with them. And she said, why? Because you was in Antarctica? I said, no, no. So, the next week came. This time she recorded, and she showed it to me. So on Friday, when she was getting off of work, she called me and said, honey, the thing, I didn't see it for 2 days, but now it's back. I said, okay, what is it doing? It's changing shapes, but it's like it's just, when I move, it moves. When I go, it goes. And I said, okay, so what is it doing, honey? She said, baby, it looks like it keeps coming closer and going back. I said, okay, do this. I said, tell it to follow you home so your husband can see it.
Hang on a second. Hang on, Charles. Hey, guys, Chad, y'all, I understand he's being funny, but he's been funny all night. And I got 5 moderators. And I normally don't say what I'm saying. So, Chad, just kind of understand we got people telling their stories, and sometimes it's not funny. And I know sometimes we're making jokes, but mods, I know y'all seeing a lot of this. And I know we do have the point where y'all may feel that some people can say what they want to say, and it's not. But I do need y'all to begin to you don't give warnings. Just do it. Just do what you have to do, and let's go there. But he's not being, Chad, you're not being bad, but there's just little things I want you to watch what you say. Okay.
Okay.
But let me stop you for a minute, because there's people asking some questions, and I did ask them to ask you some questions. So let me put a couple of them up a little bit here. One in particular said,
sensitive, I can't answer it.
Yeah, that's cool. If you can't, just let me know. He says, when you saw the ships, how did you feel physically, emotionally, and spiritually?
No, nobody ever asked me that.
Okay. Yeah.
My heart started beating real fast. So I know emotionally I was excited, but I was scared. And then my feel went from being scared to being curious. And then my spirit told me, don't be scared, because we want to talk to you. And I didn't know at that time that I had the ability to speak with them. I didn't know that, but I heard somebody talking to me, and nobody was around me. I was just looking at it, and it said, don't be scared.
Yeah. And the reason I put that question up, not only, and there's a couple of more that I'll have them to ask you, I'll put up next, but oftentimes I was talking with Reverend Carter yesterday, and like I say, he'll be here Wednesday. We're going to talk about some few things. And me and him, we talk all the time offline, and we start talking about people once they have seen or have that vibration to have spotted, seen, interact, experience with extraterrestrial, is now like a family lineage. It's almost like they have now tuned into your DNA or into, and it's like, now you're going to keep seeing them, number one. And there's also been this thing where some people be like, hey, I just can't wait. I want to see one. I'm like, hold on a minute. Because once that frequency is set, it's like tuning into a radio station. You know, now that you tuned in, oh, this is a normal occurrence. And it's almost like they know it too.
Mm-hmm.
The ETs know that this frequency is now, and I can't say they get a kick out of it, but it's almost like contact is made, right? And
it's channeled.
It's channeled, yeah.
And you hear it, but it's like if you were ever walking someplace or going into a store, and your name is Gary, and you heard somebody say Gary, and you stop and then turn around because you knew you heard somebody say something to you. Mm-hmm. That ain't somebody behind you. That's telepathy. And they're trying to call you. Because whatever you're going through, whatever you're doing, they watching you.
Yeah.
There's something about you. They want to talk to you. So don't panic. Don't get scared. You know, I know now that had I known what I know now at 19, man, please, my whole life would be different. Because first of all, and I'm being honest. First of all, those ships that I seen taking that stuff up, if it was like they was trying to talk to me and I knew it, come on down here, talk to me. And then only thing I want to see you do, really, please, let me see you hit hyperspace.
Do you want to be in it? No.
I want to be in there and see you hit hyperspace.
See, that's one thing. That's one thing that challenged me the most. And I'm gonna do a survey real quick in the audience. There's people in the audience right now who is waiting for the opportunity for a UFO to swing down here.
Come on, let's go.
And
go.
Now what I'm about to say may not go over too well, but what I do know, if they're a higher intelligence that they're supposed to be, and they have been watching mankind in history,
yes,
they should already know, at least in my account, for me, I'm just speaking for myself, that as a black man, I'm not getting on no more damn ships without knowing where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? You cannot approach me and talk about, I want to take you on a ship. Dude, do you know my history? You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting no more damn ship.
Show me some paper saying we going here. We ain't going here.
It is not happening.
On your ship.
I'm not getting no damn ship. It's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So I think they should at least know that. You know what I'm saying? It just broke somebody else.
I ain't trying to be funny, but do you remember that movie on Outer Limits that was called To Serve Man? And the man had got this book and he was reading it, and toward the end of it, it said to serve man. What it was, the aliens came look like big, giant, tall human with big heads, right? And they were taking people in their ships, and they was taking the people to their planet because they said it's going to be better living there. You're going to eat good, and you ain't got to worry about nothing, right? But they didn't tell them that book said how to serve man. That means they're going to go up there and cook you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Look, Nurses for Paramours, that's what she said. Nurse in the Paramour said it was a cookbook.
Yeah, see, hey, look.
Well, but here's the deal. But here's the deal, Charles. I say this all the time.
Tall people, I ain't getting on your ship.
I say this to people all the time. People, they don't bring some of these people back.
No, they don't.
And then it was one girl I was talking to, and she has 3 children. And she's like, I just can't wait for them. I said, ma'am, they don't bring you back sometimes. They don't. No. What are you going to say to the kids? I just want to go. They don't bring your ass back.
Look, those are the people that watch these movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, the friendly stuff.
Yeah. They ain't taking you like that. It's not a joyride. They taking you because evidently either you have something that they can use.
Yep.
Or you are something that was sent down here a long time ago, and now it's time for you to leave.
Yeah, because usually if you heard the stories, and I've heard plenty of them, and y'all think back, all of you who heard UFO stories or abduction stories, usually they bring that person back that has some type of element or something that they could not use, whether it was medical, whether it was something, but there was a reason. Because even in the call, whatever story, they brought him back because he was already axed or whatever they call it. You know, he couldn't produce. And they brought him back because it was no use. They check people's bloodlines, or they check, you know, they want specimens. You get what I'm saying? And especially if they're going to, now that I'm hearing more and more stories of, you know, doing the tests that they do, all of these things.
Doing right now, Roger, what they're doing right now is that they are bringing their experiments down here, and they're systematically setting them up in different places to track, to monitor, and to write notes on what we're doing. I'll give you a very good example. And I told my wife this, and I told Ashley, I said, hey, y'all, I'm going to show you something. I took them by Price Chopper where we stay at in KCK off of 78 and State. There was a guy that was there, rain or shine, heat or snow. He wasn't even wearing a coat, but he was there. Now, we had a storm come, Roger, and I said, hey, y'all, this storm that's coming right now, it's unusual, but I guarantee you right now, that guy I showed you, watch him be different. We went by there right after the storm. That guy was different. Now there's another one, same thing. And my wife knows it now because her and Ashley tells me, look at the extraterrestrial. He's just out here. And when you look at him, if you were driving and you ride by real slow and look at his face, he has lizard's eyes.
Yeah,
he doesn't wear glasses, but he's a different shade than the last two that left. And all of their shades was different.
Yeah. And I think what happens now, you know, I'm just telling people now, I have so much research that I've done over the last probably 3, 4, 5 months. And I used to just kind of look at the ET UFO phenomena. That's why we expand past that. It's no longer for us to talk about, are a UFO real, or what's in the sky, or the government got some type of, you know, blue beam and green beam, and they're hiding some stuff from me. Because a lot of people know I don't worry about disclosure as much as I used to, because the game is not going to change. They're going to change the rules, but the game of disclosure will never go away. Now, if you can tell them, you know, what's behind door 1, 2, and 3, and you can get the right Information Act and all of that, and maybe get behind some veils because a whistleblower, they'll admit that. But you think they're going to tell you what's behind 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10? Hell no. You know, they're not going to admit, oh, by the way, y'all didn't ask about this or what the experiments is happening. That will never go away. And they're just going to continue to let us have what we want we can have, or the cheese that they have. Now, saying that is why I began to go with more of the witnesses on the ground, and then taking it further to study the greatest power of all is why we go through truth versus authority, because it is bigger. People, this stuff is bigger. It goes all the way back all the way to the desert lands. Okay, even when Credo, Mutua, and Zulus in Africa and the bloodlines. Now we're taking it all the way back to the DNA. Then you take it all the way back to Illuminati's, the 13 bloodlines, and how they are ruling us through alien integration years ago during DNA. And this stuff is so big that it's all about manipulation, and it's all about control, but moving us into a new world order, which is already now being wide open now. We won't talk about politics here, but the whole point I'm saying is that it is way bigger. And it's why I start focusing on this reptilian stuff, because you can't make it up no more. You cannot make this up, you know, and you can't ignore it, but people do. They think it's crazy. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore our history. You can't ignore that symbolism. You can't ignore that every culture out there worship the snake and serpents and dragons, and even the Chinese people, their ancient people say they are descendants of dragons. And then we start thinking about vampires, and now we know about the reptilians and what they would eat or try. This stuff is so real and is embedded that the whole game that we thought that the greatest thing that the devil ever did was to make people think he didn't exist, and it ain't even the devil, y'all.
Sure ain't.
It ain't the goddamn devil. I'm telling you now. It is a deeper, more insidious situation, and it's real.
And everything Roger's telling you guys, you need to listen to him. It's real. It's factual. It's real. You know what? I'm gonna tell you right now. If you go on YouTube and you look at some of the topics they talk about UFOs, not about these other things. Look at the topics of what they talk about UFOs. Look at the books that was taken out the Bible. Okay, because they don't want you to know. These are true. It's factual. These things have been happening before we got here. Before now, I ain't gonna say our ancestors. Before life got here, this stuff was already happening.
Yeah.
But now,
it's millions of years.
What man did is that he put it in movie stage. So you can watch a movie and say, man, I don't know what I would do if I see something like that. It's already here. You just think you're not looking. And if you do see it, you don't want to believe it. You either say to yourself, did they see that? Hey, did y'all just see that? And they say, because they did what?
Yeah. And it's funny because when I started this journey of truth versus authority, and at first I was, and some of these people are going to hear this for the first time, but it was all about me saying, okay, we can't believe the authorities, bad authorities and everything else, and truth is the truth. Now, truth is going to always remain the truth. And one of the things that people have to realize, if you want to know what truth really is, it is something that already, it happened, okay? So why can't we focus the fact that we have ancient temples and stuff that we don't even know how they got here? And people walking around every day can give a darn and know that there's things in places, civilizations gone, just wiped off the face of the planet, everything about them. Just like somebody said, okay, this is the end of this, shoot. And we don't know what's happening, but yet we hear stories of the return and this. But where I'm going with this is, what he just said was, I then start evolving to understand that truth versus authority, and the authority is not it is the global elites and people hiding, but it's our minds. And sometimes we believe what we see. And you hear people say, well, I can see it to believe it. No. They have now mastered the game to alter what you see. That's been the greatest thing that they ever done. And now we have to free our minds of the authority. And sometimes we're programmed to do so much stuff that we're follow the program and don't even know. And it started way back before you was an adult. It's the children's rhymes and books. And it's not human, it's extraterrestrial game, to control us. And like I said, this stuff is big. So now when I say truth versus authority, the truth is the truth, but now we have to now refresh our minds and get our minds back out of the programming to see. And you better believe if we're able to elevate our vibration, we can see them. We can see the illusion goes away. And this is what David Icke talks about. This is why some people can see the auras and some people can see the reptilians and different ones, because their mind is freeing up enough that the illusions are coming apart. And that's where we have to go. That's just that's my preaching tonight.
In the show, I don't know if anybody will get this if they listen to what I'm saying. All these movies that they put together that are, I look at them. I do. I watch all of them.
like Star Wars. Okay, that's the closest thing that you're gonna come to that's actually going on. And the only reason why you're not seeing it because your eyes ain't open. Your eye, it's happening right in front of you every day. Okay. When they want to transport something, they do two things. They mess with the weather and they drop things down here and pick the ones up they dropped off. Okay. Now, if you didn't get what I just said, I'm gonna say it again. What Roger just told you, you have to unlearn what you learned.
Yep.
You got to unlearn it. I'm talking about from day one when you started walking and talking. You got to unlearn it because it wasn't real. What's real is what's going on around you right now, because now you're old enough that you can put this together in your mind and in your head and look at it for what it really is. You got to let go of whatever they told you, that this stuff doesn't exist. It never happened. You got to leave that alone, because then you're going to be saying, well, that turns me into a conspiracy theorist. No, it doesn't. That turns you into a person that's opened up his eyes so they can really see what's going on around them. Because I'm telling you right now, it's going to be too late when your eyes do open.
See, that was why personally, and I cried a few times over it, that I felt that, especially when I looked at it from a community standpoint, and it doesn't neglect anyone else who's not in my community. Okay. It's just that I just felt, because of my upbringing and how my mom taught and everything else, is that when the extraterrestrials show up, because I feel that, we're there, Jeff Bezos, who's part of ruling the world, has already said that industry is moving to space.
Yep.
So what that means is that our children's children, or your children, people got kids that's 6, 8 years old, in about 15 years, everything is going. They're going to go to space, and they don't have to be astronauts. So don't even think about that. They're going to get. And then when Elon Musk says we're going to colonize Mars, and everybody's cheering and wish I can go, your ass is going, because they're going to get. And he said it. He said it live. He says, "Don't worry about it. We're going to get the workers there.
Yep.
They're going to get a free ride. Period."
Yep.
Because we need the workers. And where I'm going with this is that we're going to have a lot of people that are going to start going to work in space as a routine. But they're going to be kids of parents that have taught them there's nothing up there but a mansion and somebody watching over them. And when they get up there and it ain't blue and ain't no mansion, and they look out and something's waving at them with 6 eyes, like Star Wars, or are they going into somewhere and they're, it just don't look like them, it's going to blow their mind. They're going to mentally be just messed up. But so we have to prepare them now that the possibility of things are out there is going to be prevalent. And that was one of the things, even when I was doing Project Stars. And Project Stars stuff, the acronym is using stargazing with the S, the T, to achieve real with the R, space conversations with the children. I wanted people to start getting telescopes in, and we was getting companies going to donate, and we was going to do all these viewing events, not to get the kids to say, I want to be an astronaut, but just to look over and say, Mom, Dad, cousin, is there something else out there? And start the conversation. Same thing with Project Black. Start the conversation. That was on the logo. Because if we don't begin that, then it's going to affect. Now, let me back up for a minute. Because industry is moving to space, things are going. Now, the government is already on point. They already know this. This is why they are getting people acclimated to UFOs in the sky, the stories and all of it, because they know it's time. Even back in the day, the prime minister, Israeli or whatever, that prime minister told Trump when he was in office the first time that the ET says it's time that it's ready for us to know. So we're moving on a clock that it ain't humans blocking this. Okay.
No.
And the point of the matter would be, will you be prepared mentally for the revelation of the fact of the truth of certain areas? Because everybody's going to ask the same question, Charles, and that is, who is your God when they meet an alien?
Yep.
And don't let it line up with what you've been taught.
Yep.
And now you know what's going to happen is going to be a war of the worlds because more people have died over religion than anything out there.
Yes, sir.
And they're going to fight again for the same religion. They're going to fight for it. And the aliens are going to be like, look, dude, we're going to take y'all out, you know, or whatever. Let me walk through the scene.
They don't have to blow the earth up. All they got to do, okay.
Well, they're gonna do what they've done and say, okay, let's turn the weather on.
Yes, like they do it.
And let's flood these ants out. Let's flood these ants out, and we'll just start over with a whole new month.
The movie, Roderick, that I tried to tell people that was real. It really happened. It happened. I think it happened in 1950, either 51 or 47. There was an extraterrestrial ship that landed in Washington, D.C. That was the first extraterrestrial ship to land. And when it landed, a person that was there that seen the whole thing from start to finish, he wrote a book about it. And then when he wrote a book, somebody had the nerve, I mean, not the testicles, but the nerve in their heart to go ahead and make it into a movie. And it was called The Day the Earth Stood Still. Yeah,
because it's look, Jarrell said that too. The Day the Earth Stood Still. Yeah, yes, so
not with what's his name, not with
Keanu Reeves. Not with him.
I'm talking about the original. Okay, the original. They said they didn't even want to put that movie out because they said it gave up too much information and people didn't look at it that way. How's a spaceship gonna land in Washington, D.C. and we got the Army and everything else? Well, that day that it landed, the Army couldn't do nothing with it, nor the Air Force, nor the military. What happened was that it came down here to try to do something for us and with us, and the powers that be turned against it. So when that happened, just like the war in the fight that happened in L.A., when they said that was
the Battle of L.A.,
right, they made a movie out of it. You guys got to open your eyes and listen to what we're saying. I'm 68 years old. The first UFO I seen, I was 19 years old, and I was overseas and seen it. Then I seen a couple of more at different places, but they real.
Oh yeah, and I think what happens with cinema, and now that I'm learning more and more, and of course we can say basic or more extensive stuff, that I'm gonna start talking. And I know I'm gonna pump something for y'all, but I'm gonna do it because it's necessary, because it's time and it's very necessary. So I know a lot of you are holding back, and maybe it's just whatever. But when I start talking about this Patreon and uncensored, I finally found a place that we can talk, say whatever we want. It's not Patreon that it's done. It's done on another service, and then I can put the links in there and people can get on it. There it is, Truth versus Authority, and I call it Uncensored Secrets. Now, I said this because I got censored. YouTube hit me. I'm on probation. I'm just telling you now. And I got to be really careful. But it pissed me off, too, because there was something I was saying was the truth. And why would they do this? Now, it has nothing to do with an individual who were sitting there listening to Roderick Martin, but the new king of kings, not spiritually, AI, machine learning, is monitoring everybody. You know, we all know it. You can say something in your phones now and talk about your knee hurting. Next thing you know, you're going to get bandages for knees showing up in ass in about 10 minutes.
Yep.
So we can't hide from anything. But however, you know, there are still some good services out here that don't want censored, they'll let you do things, and the censorship is bad. But anyway, so people felt the power this Thursday because I rattled off on some stuff and I was like, hey, we can say what we want to say. But that is where I'm going to start giving you some of this hidden knowledge that I have in some stuff when it comes down to the Illuminati, the control, the mind control. I found a secret list of foods, not just foods that everybody, these help people walking around. Oh yeah, no, I'm talking some ingredients that are digitally designed for mind control that everybody on here has eaten and is still eating. And don't say I don't because you think I'm talking about a health kick. Hell no. This is some biological stuff that, and I'm going to start talking about it in uncensored stuff. And that's fine. You know, like I said, I know it could be, you know, whatever issues for y'all, but I'm still going to talk, but I just can't do it here. And then I got people that are going to come forth and talk. I'm just telling you that it's getting ready to get real. And if you did not witness the new dawn, the golden age, and I'm saying it, and it was said, and if you didn't witness the new painting that went over the White House the other day, up on the inauguration time, the sun worship painting that went up and that it was unveiled to everybody, and Elon Musk and all these people, the technology people now being in front of the cabinet, it is on, baby. It is on. And I'm not telling you to fear it. I'm telling you to understand it so that you can survive it and maneuver and grow and begin to build your arsenal up. Because it's not a global control thing. And like I said, I'm just being very, very, very delicate here. But we're going to do it. We're going to be on a live session just like this. And I got some guests coming up next week. And there's going to be a couple of guests. And I'm going to do it right in like, hey, right now, y'all go click that link. We're going behind the scenes. And the system was great. You know, you can ask your questions. You don't have to put them in the chat. It puts it up in the queue. I can see the questions. Oh, we had fun. And I can just click and it puts up their question and need answering. Everybody, the audience can vote. We can talk about it. We can bring anybody up and on screen. It is a beautiful system, but it's going to be one of the most valuable places that we have. And I'm going to continue to be up here. But when I tell you we got to go dark for this, understand what I'm telling y'all. And I'm not making this up, but it's things you need to hear that we're going to be able to say. And like I said, it was a wake up call for me, waking up to content. And then they tell you exactly what you're not supposed to say. So I can't say it now that I can't say it, you know, and it's crazy. And I would have never thunk it. I'm using an Ebonics word now, but now I'm going to change it a little bit to thought. But the other part of that is real out here, and there's things that we have to be careful with. But that's fine, Adam. You know, like I said, hey, and here's the whole thing. You may not can afford it now, but you will someday. And that's what, you know, you am and you will. And that's fine. Because what I realized, and I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way, I couldn't afford to tell y'all the truth. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to tell y'all the truth. I didn't make no money from YouTube and some of the support. And had they shut me down, I'd have been gone. Some of y'all have been listening to someone else. But I still want to tell you the truth. So I had to figure out a mechanism to fund the truth. It's crazy. But that's the God's honest truth. I couldn't afford to tell you the truth, you know? And it was like, man, you want to talk. And I got a lot of information. I'm well connected. And I've been probably one of the quietest person on the scene over the last 3 or 4 years compared to some of the others out there. And only because you got to feel your way out through. I've got people that you can trust. You can't trust anymore. You can't tell them nothing. You think you bonding with people and then you can say the wrong thing. And it is crazy. But they'll ridicule you in a minute. You know, so that's just me. Let me get off that soapbox. Who cares? But the whole point I'm saying is that those who are willing to listen and can listen, and it's a way that I can deliver it. The system costs to do it. You know, there's people that I'm giving contributions to come tell you. They get paid on the circuits. How do I get them to come to our show? How do I get them? Well, now it's like, okay, look, can I get an hour of your time offline? Because they want to tell some stuff too. You know, I went to and this will be the last part. I went to a natural thing. I was invited to a show here, Charles, in Dallas, and it was all these doctors and stuff, man, and all these people that been to prison, and it was because they was telling the truth. They threw them behind bars and stuff, and it was just crazy. But you know, all right. So that's as far as I can say. We won't go there from there. But like I said, don't y'all worry. the archives will be there when you can. If not, and a lot of you are intelligent enough, you're going to get the information one way or the other. But again, that's just something. And I apologize, not to say I'm apologetic for putting the information there and going out to do it. But then there is a scenario. So, just, and if that's not something you can do, just don't worry about it. I'm not here trying to make you feel bad or not. I'm just telling the ones who can, and maybe y'all can meet someone and then you can meet them in person and y'all share the information because they listen to everything. That's fine. They don't care about us talking behind the scenes because they know ain't enough people listening. What they do care if one of these videos get 1 million views.
Yep.
And the wrong person hear what they had to say.
Well,
they do care about that.
My thing is, since I've talked about this, is anybody really understanding what we're saying?
They understand it. I think, or listen, they definitely understand it. Or if I ask Oprah, she'll be like,
hell no.
You know what I'm saying? But they understand it. Sometimes you can tell people, and I got these little clips for my expression, but sometimes you can tell people stuff and they look at you and they be like,
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So
I got that a whole bunch of times.
Yeah,
especially from my family.
And that's how they do it, and pretty much. But I tell you what, Charles, I'm not going to hold you up because we're getting ready to get out of here in a minute. I'm going to try to get some more people on the stage here in a minute. Okay. I appreciate you, man, for being here. Go eat your food. Tell your wife, give her a hug. One of these days, we'll bring back and hear some more of the Dogman stories and different things. But I am ready to start bringing people together. I'm working on I will kind of say it out loud, but next couple of weeks, for the whole week, we're going to be doing a great thing that everybody's been. Look, I'm just getting tongue tied. I can't even say it. But anyway, I appreciate you, my brother. I really do. And I think that clumsiness that you've been having is finally paying off. Right? It's just our story.
Well, I like I said, I got hurt at work, but it wasn't my fault. I almost fell 10 feet to the floor.
Yeah. But they go pay for that one though. But anyway, give your wife hugs, man, and we'll talk. All right.
Okay, Raj. I appreciate you, everybody. Thank you for listening. Love you. Okay, peace.
All right. Bye. So we're gonna be here just a few more moments, but if any maybe a couple of you may want to jump on and say some stuff, I may bring you up if you want to comment on it, and if you've never been here a little bit, but. That's one of the stories, and we could have went a lot deeper, but it's an emotional story, and these things really affect people a lot, man, when it comes down to this, right? And I think that people don't understand what it takes for people to talk about stuff like this. And there are some of you out here listening now, and if you got a story and you're willing to share details, of course, my 800 number is not on the screen here, but 888-345-9121. We're here. And like I said, we're going to promote our Project Black stuff. We're going to be doing that really soon. And I think that's something that we need to look at. But, I appreciate, everyone, and those of you who, hold the chats and everything else. And like I said, we just got to understand what other people are doing and what they're talking about and how they feel when it comes down to this kind of stuff. And it really gets pretty difficult for people to share something emotional that they have inside themselves for quite some time when it comes down to this and pretty much. And it's just a blessing. And appreciate it, Chad. And like I said, just my apologies if I offended you earlier, but that's not. I just want people to understand that the people, when they're talking, they can read the comments too. And even though sometimes we can hit them, and we just don't know, how they're feeling about our humor. And ain't nobody got more humor. I'm gonna do my Donald Trump line. Ain't nobody got more humor than I got, and I have some humor, but I got humor. But okay, yeah, there we go. I'm put this on the screen. Thank you, Philly Cat. But yeah, that's the 800 number, 24/7, 12/365 plus OT. if you got an experience. But I do want it can receive texts. I want people, when y'all out, to start sending pictures of symbols and buildings and things that has these hidden Illuminati stuff, because man, they're in plain sight, and these people are not playing games. But the point about that is it's so compartmentalized that even the ones that playing the games don't even know they're part of the game, and they're part of the game, right? But it's time for us to begin the process of breaking down those layers. And I ain't going to use the word expose. I'm using the word bring to light, for us to have that knowledge for ourselves and for you and for your families and everything else. And so we're going to continue to do that. I need y'all to begin to, almost a couple of hundred people in here, like and share this video. When it's over, comment on it. And then, of course, mods, watch those comments after the shows and stuff like that. Monica says, in these times, we have to protect each other's mental and emotional wellness. You got that right. And it's one of those things that we have to do. Great show. Things are so real right now. Most don't have a clue. Yeah. And I'm not, you know what? And I've always had this assumption that I don't go around talking about being woke, because I think, in my personal opinion, that people that just, want to let everybody else know they woken or not, some of us can get a little hypocritical when it comes to that, and we forget that we were in the places of those people. And our goal is to shed the light, not to separate ourselves from non-woke people, because just you got to remember when you didn't know, and you don't know what you know, and then you can't just roll it on them, because the whole thing is, when the teacher is ready, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You got to just be available, so that when they do begin to ask those inquisitive questions, it's something is different. I've had people that are friends that we were close and we talked daily like a D. And this is recently, I'm assuming this is what happened. Well, they start going back to church, and next thing you know, we don't talk no more at all, because, religion. And you're supposed to be able to still have the wherewithal that, especially as men, that I can disagree and you could disagree. But when religion can separate you from someone, then it works. It really works. And we've seen that. And so, and we try to walk around being equally yoked. No, my opinion and your opinion is just not yoking. That don't mean we're not equally yoked. Yeah, we breathe the air. We cool. But this is a challenge that we have, that we're in, when it comes down to it. So, and then when I start talking about reptilians, we had a lot of unsubscribers. People's like, I can't go there, and like I've told y'all before, the most difficult person is called cognitive dissonance. Make sure you look that up. And solipsism and all of this stuff that, we're going to talk about these things. I just don't know when and how to bring them up, because it doesn't fit sometimes in the criteria of some of these conversations. But when you have cognitive dissonances and you're telling people some truth or non-truth, and all their lives that they believe that is something that's to be true, then all their lives that they believe that is true, and then you give them information that is not true, either they can conform or they're going to hate you. Either they conform or you're going to be the enemy. Either they conform, and it's the vice versa. There can be things that people felt that's untrue, and then they get the information is true. Either they can conform or they're going to hate you. And this happens in personal relationships, friendships, and everything else. And so, we're going to put all that stuff on the Patreon, and we're going that route, and we're going to do that. So, and that's just my answer to not only, to grow the content financially, as it builds, we can use it to get more people to come to speak free behind there. We can do more things, power in numbers, and like I said, whether it's one or whether it's 2,000, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to tell you some stuff that you can't hear out here. I've been in 11 different TV shows. Everybody should know that. Ancient Aliens, History Channel. I've been on Coast to Coast Radio. I've, of course, being around Billy and his family and traveling there, and, Fox Tubi and Discovery Channel and all of this stuff. I met a arsenal of people. I got connections out the wazoo in this phone. I got people that y'all see on TV every day that I talk to. I don't brag about it and don't put it out there yet, but yet my credentials, but no more, I'm just trying to say it's time for me to let you know that I do possess the information. And I just been watching and I don't have a cry for humanity. I have a cry for us to survive as individuals and people. I don't know. I can't save humanity. It's nothing I'm going to do for that. But if I can help you all, the people who I love and people love me and everything else, it's different. And that's why I tell people that I'm a little careful, even in personal relationships. I've formed relationships with a lot of people here, and they come and go. They come until they can't get anything else from you, or it doesn't line up, and pretty much. So I learned not to like a lot of people. There's people I met that I was like, oh, you'll be a wonderful mate or a person. Now you got to be careful. You just can't even do that anymore, because it's a different world sitting behind here as I talk to you, without an anonymity. I can't hide from you. I can't hide who I am. You can Google me and call me back. You could, and there's people, like I say, I don't blame you. Some of y'all got some usernames that I'll be afraid to meet. I'd be like, damn, Killer Bob, whatever, right? And we're reminiscences of those things. And there are some people I would love to meet. And by the way, for you in Dallas, we're doing a WhatsApp right now. Maya and all of us, we're putting together a DFW Truth Seekers. So if you're listening and you're in the Dallas area, email me and let's add you to the WhatsApp, because soon as weather clear up in the next 45 days or so, we're getting out. We're going to be hitting some people on the street together. We're going to look at some of this. I got some places to take you, things. There's UFO spots, alien spots. There's symbolism spots. There's people. I believe in numbers. We can do better with it. And that's been the dream of getting back in better shape too, so that I could have the freedom as I'm moving around and all that. And saying that again, my birthday wish for us to help is in the link. There's a link in the description. Click it and just see the birthday wish that I have, and maybe you can help out with that. But I'm not pushing it. The Herbal says in Dallas. All right, so let's put the email up. Contact at Why the Big Secret. I'll put it on the screen. If you're in Dallas, email your telephone number. I'll put you in the DFW Truth Seekers WhatsApp group, and then we all going to communicate together, and we plan some things, and I think that's the best way. But it's contact at whythebigsecret.com is the email address. I'm going to say it again. If you email, I want to be part of the Dallas group without a telephone number, I'm not going to respond. I used to just keep responding. It's like people are afraid to give out a number or something, but make sure y'all do. Let me put it on the screen. My birthday is in March though, y'all. So hang on. Let me put that up here. There you go. So that's the email address on the screen. Make sure you click that, send your contact if you're in Dallas or know someone in Dallas. My wife, Jackie, loves your podcast. We'll tell Jackie that, Scott loves her and Roderick loves y'all. Let her know. Let her know. We all know. But March 10th is the day. And I'll be 55, and it's all going down to. I never had a birthday party, but I might just try to do something myself and whatever. Or maybe this Dallas group, we all go to Dave and Buster's or something. But I'm going to do something this year, okay? Either the weekend of or whatever. I don't know. But I'm doing something. And Mars, she says, March 10th. That's the day. And that is going to be the day. All right. So with that being said, Philly Cat March 2nd, she says, and my mama, but she's 54 on March 18th. Cool. So we got, all right, Jarrell. So I don't feel old, but your mama is 54. I don't feel old. Yeah. And, it's all good. I will mark the calendar. Yes, mark the calendar. UFO tour guide video of Dallas sound cool. Yeah, there's a lot of places around, and I think the best part is going to be getting out there talking to people, and pretty much. And he says, Rod, I'm going to sign up. My granddaughter lives there. Yeah, just sign up. So cool. Yeah, because he said, Lord, I'm older than your mama. I know, right? And I'm not going to lie, I didn't realize, I'm fit to turn 55. And I'm like, it's just time now, man. It's time, live, have some fun, do what you do, enjoy what you're doing. Go on, talk more about this content, do what you got to do, and pretty much, and and not worry about it. Oh, by the way, y'all tell me what y'all think about this. How I always say your eyes are useless and your mind is blind. This is a new style. I haven't put it up. Just tell me if y'all like it. Hang on. Let me put it back here. Maybe my beads back. Anyway, there's the shirt there. Yeah. Okay, so I have a few. I haven't put it on the websites and nothing. I need to see if y'all like it or not. But anyway, but the part is, and it's in different colors. It has a colorful truth versus authority thing right there in the middle, the all seeing eye stuff. But yeah. So, like I said, I haven't put it up. Different colors and different stuff, but I'll bring it up. But so the other part, like I said, is that just let you know, we're gonna. I had borrowed my brother's drone for a while, and he finally got it back. Oh, it was like a toy. But I realized, it does its own programming if you get the right one, where it'll just follow you. So I'm just imagining us as a group, we out. So that's the birthday thing. Y'all can go click on it. And March 10th, we got enough to save pennies together. Even if 50 cents of anybody lives that I've touched, I should be able to get this thing right. Yeah, I've touched some lives, so we'll do that. But regardless, I'm gonna work for it too. But last year we got the pocket, so now we can get out here. We got everything we need video wise. It is time. No more damn excuses. Get out there on the streets and hit some stuff. And pretty much, I'll figure out when I'll put the different colors or whatever up, but the designs are made and all that, and pretty much. So we will do that as well. So again, Wednesday, Michael, Reverend Carter will be here, my friend Michael Carter. He's going to talk about one of his major experiences that we're going to talk about. And, being a Reverend, he's going to also go into the serpent stuff that we've been talking about, reptilians in the Bible. Okay. And nobody knows, nobody knows much about that as he does. He got books that he's written. And so we're going to go hard, and he's already said it. He knows if it's something that he don't want to say up front, then he's just going to give me an alert. And then, I'll say, okay, y'all, we're going to finish this, and it's going to be real easy. Just click and you go into the new place. And like I said, it's cool. We had a great time. And so, yeah, so we'll have Bishop Daryl Nichols. I got a whole slew of people that's going to be on the show all next week. And then we're going to do, let me go and put this out here right now. So if you have made a comment or got anything we want to discuss, and then you got RH negative blood, make sure you contact me. It's on the screen, contact@wildabigSecret.com. I have a big thing that I'm working on for all of you. And so far we got 20 something people. So, we're going to do a whole series and on that. So we're going to go in hard. So if it's something that you want to be a part of it, and you don't mind coming on camera, telling your story, being part of the thing that I'm putting together, RH negative, then contact@wildabigSecret.com. Please leave your number. Let me say it again, a telephone number, because I got a call if you blindly with these emails and, just whatever, that is really different. But again, if you have people, please contact. And Susie says she is. Contact me at the email that's on the screen. And please give me a number so I can reach out and call you. I can't stress that much. And I will call personally. I'll be like, this is Roderick. So not a robocall. I'm gonna call you and pretty much. But if y'all are interested, and otherwise you can watch what we do and put some stuff together. With that being said, let me do a quick consensus real quick. Is there, Philly Cat, I meant to tell you the other day, you was asking about those drones. There's a video I need to send you that goes deep into the drones. I had already talked to Anthony about the drones earlier. That's why they mentioned it on the show. And he didn't really want to care to go into it, like whatever. But there's a video that I'll tell all of y'all. If you go and look up Sean Ryan's video that he did right when they did the explosion down there at the tower, they received a manifesto about the drones from the guy who did the explosions, who worked for the government, who told what the drones really were and what was really going on. Go check that video out. That's what I meant to send to you the other day. But I'll go ahead and go check that out. And the drone stuff. Like I said, now they're saying there was individuals out there, so we're not talking about that pretty much either. All right. So overall, again, Sean Ryan. Yeah, that'll be his. Yeah, Scott said he saw the video. That was a powerful video. So make sure you go check it out. I wish I had the link, but go check. I meant to send that to you, but that is the real deal about what's happening and what's going on with the drone stuff. And all right, so y'all good? It's Friday. Y'all good, everyone? We're good. All right, so we're going to get ready to get out of here. I just want to thank each and every one of you. We'll be back Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at 8 p.m. And just make sure you all come and enjoy, talking to each and one. Our audience is growing. I appreciate it. Y'all are watching. We could do some Freaky Fridays and stuff, but we would do that in the other place. So I may even do that. I may even just go live again in a few minutes, and just talk because, we can just get wild and talk. But probably not, though. But in the future, we'll go into our uncensored area and just have a chat and pretty much. But anyway, I love each and every one of you. I appreciate you being here. Kiss and hug your loved ones and everything else. And then we will talk. But we probably bring it back and pretty much. So true. I'll roll it back a little. All right. It's all good. All right. So y'all, love y'all. Y'all have a good one. And don't forget to get your, let me see here. Yeah, make sure you if you don't have access, make sure you do that. So I won't be doing a Freaky Friday until we get enough people in there, so y'all won't miss it. But so at that point, make sure you go here, and a couple of you just got it too. Thank you already, but go ahead and take care, and pretty much there you go.
Peace and harmony. I think we're being set up for something very serious and very big by some very powerful secret societies that very well could have extraterrestrial or otherworld intelligence guiding it. I am very fearful for the world we live in because we bought it hook, line, and sinker, and all over the world we have accepted the authority as truth rather than truth as the authority. It is going to require intellect, knowledge, study, and making a stand for the first time not to accept the things which your government gives you, which your religions give you, and which the authorities give you. Because as far as I'm concerned, I have a very big problem with anyone called an authority, because they're always...